conversation.
You're welcome to your favorite program, The Conversation.
Hello there, and welcome to The Conversation. Our guest today is a legislator representing Izego constituency in Enugu State. His name is Right Honorable Barrister Chima Obieze.
The conversation.
Not all politicians do these things. I've never used talks. In fact, I can never do anything ungodly to get power. My experiences in leadership have taught me that power belongs to God. And then there's a Bible verse that says, what shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and then lose your soul? To gain all the political power on earth and then you lose your soul. So I am an advocate that people should shun desperation in politics. What causes these things are desperation. But I'm also an advocate that if you belong to an omuna, as you belong to your kinsman meeting, and the leg of a goat is brought to be shared, it is not wisdom for you to say that I'm leaving this goat for you people to eat. If it is your share, you must get it. Even if it is just a slice of meat. You're with your brothers. Get your own slice.
But that is where some people have problems with Nigerian politicians. You are not talking about share, eating your own slice. But I was expecting that Nigerian politicians should be talking about sacrifice. Now that leads me to a question. What would Izego people that you are representing, how can they describe Chima Obieze's tenure as a legislator in Enugu State House of Assembly? How would your people, Izego people, describe you? What have you done for them?
Okay, even though you did not allow me to finish what I mean by the slice.
Okay, you can talk about the slice.
I need you to understand what I mean. What I mean is, every Nigerian youth should begin to see themselves in the context of kinsmen, a kinsmen meeting. Once you are 18 and you join the kinsmen meeting, it means if they are sharing the kinsmen, the family land, you must get a share. It means if there are enemies who are coming to fight the family over their land, you must also come out.
Take responsibility.
You should take, exactly. So I am telling them that Nigeria is our collective family. You cannot back out because you feel that things are wrong. You must go in and you must fight for a space. That's what I mean when I say I don't support desperation in politics, but I also don't support that people should chicken out. What are you chickening out for? People don't die twice. So once you know that that the cause you're pursuing is just, you should fight. Even Abraham Lincoln said to his son that you should close your ears to a holy mob and stand up and fight if you think you're right. So young people are expected to be part of the process. Let me tell you, if Nigerian youth come out en masse, is not en masse, ready to die and demand change will come. The problem is that we are all afraid of our lives. So we would rather live in chains than die fighting for what we deserve, for the country that we deserve. And I tell young people, I say, 90% of us have only citizenship of Nigeria. Only about 10% of us have dual citizenship. And for 90% of us who are Nigerians, it means whether you are going up or you are going down, this is your country. If war broke out here now, Cameroon will close their border so that our people will not surge in there. Benin Republic will close their border. Chad will close their border so that our refugee will not come and constitute overrun them in their own country. It means we die here. In Nigerian youth slogan, we die here. It's our own. So the question is this the kind of society you want your children to inherit? It's what we have now, where your father can leave in the morning and not come back in the evening, where your children can go to school and not, and you don't ever. You should get involved. You understand? Why do people even fight wars? They fight wars not because they want to go out, they just want to throw their lives and die. They fight wars because they are fighting for a cause that they do believe in. These are why men in the army go to war. These are why nations go to war. You say, how can this happen to our nation? If this happens to our nation, what will be the fate of our children and children's children? Instead of being alive and watch this happen this way, let us fight and die. These are the reasons people go to war. So that way, I want them to look at politics and governance and power play as something they need to fight for. And I'm not saying take up arms, but it's something you need to stand out. Let your voice be heard. In your ward meetings, in your local government meetings, in your party meetings. And as you continue to do that, your impact will continue to be felt. Now, coming to what Ezeago people would say, that Chima Obieze will be remembered for. Okay, Chima Obieze, first of all, will be remembered as that legislator that people can see at any time of the day.
Accessibility.
At anywhere. That legislator that is there for them, that walks around his constituency, you know, without vehicles and without security aids.
Grassroots.
That stops at their shops and sit down, you know, at their petty trading shops and have a gist and ask them what's going on.
The people's man.
That can walk into any town hall or community meetings and tell them I came to say hi. That can walk into the family house of anybody in Ezeago and, you know, to know how they are. That can stop at the motorcycle, that is Okada people's spot, and then we can have a chat for some time and I'll go. I think basically what I've tried to do is to make people understand that people in power are not demigods. People in power can be you. It can be me. So when I think about my upbringing, I believe that I would be a sort of inspiration to younger people who want to join politics if I made myself available for them so that they do not think that there is a mystery surrounding my person, so that they understand that I am like them, I feel pain like them, I am weak like them, I fall like them, I rise like them. And then God has brought me here. I wasn't born with a silver or golden spoon. We were one of those that use our hand to carve out our own spoon with wood. So there are so many young people in my category wearing the same shoes. So they should be able to also understand that getting political power shouldn't change you. It should help you to be who you are. So they will know me as this honorable member that is there for them. Basically, a lawmaker has 3 duties. The first one is to make laws. And I think in that aspect, they can rightly say that Chima Obieze is one representative that has heard his views in any issue that comes to the House of Assembly justly and fairly. I don't know if I would sound arrogant if I say that I do not fear. I do fear. I do have respect and regard for people and authorities. I do believe that people should respect constitutional authority and statutory authority so much. But I do not fear. When I say I do not fear, I mean in the context of knowing that this is not good, and I would find it difficult to tell you to your face. Okay, what I will not do at first is I wouldn't want to embarrass you as my friend. So I would first of all tell you privately. I say, okay, what's up with this issue? I think you're pushing the wrong narrative, and you're my friend. I cannot call you out, but I think you need to retrace and do things right. I would do it to any leader above me. But when I see that you consistently want to toe the inglorious path, and I need to also remove myself, because it might not be something I would want to stand in my name, in my reputation, and in my history that I was part of. So I can sleep. You see, I have 2 sons already. Sometimes the rationale behind my political decisions is when they grow up and probably they learn that I was part of this, how can I explain it to them? But am I going to tell them that was my reason? Because I also want to raise children that would be blessing to the society, and I need them to learn from me, because I am the God that they see. I am a mirror, a reflection of what is right and what is wrong to them. So in decision making, you must understand that what we do in life echoes in eternity, and you must do things that you'll be proud to say that you stood with this. So in the House of Assembly, I've been vocal. I've been saying this most of the time. I've consulted them. Sometimes I call some of the traditional rulers. I say, okay, this is what is on the table. What do you think? Think about it. Call me tomorrow.
That's about the making of the law. The other 2 aspects of the legislative work.
Okay, and then I've moved motions where I feel my people were affected. I've moved motions on insecurity. I've moved a motion on rentage, because if you go to Ababa and the Nike and some other part of Enugu, you see that the Eziago people are much in those areas. And then when their landlords want to send them packing with huge rentage, we try to also intervene by way of motions. There's this one they started newly. I'm still going to move a motion on it. They call it caution fee. I've never read about it in all my study of law books. I don't even know what it means.
Okay.
I know when you pay your rent, they tell you that you pay caution fee. I don't know what caution fee is. So I'm going to challenge it very soon, because it affects my people. It also affects other people, but it affects the people of Eziago more. So the other 2 other aspects are what we call oversight. The doctrine of separation of powers and checks and balances, as propounded by a French philosopher, Baron de Mostec, states that each arm of government plays the role of a watchdog on the other arms of government. So the legislature watches the executive, watches the judiciary. The judiciary watches the executive and the legislature. The executive watches the legislature and the judiciary. So it is our duty, as enshrined in 1999 Constitution, Section 127, 128, 129, as state legislature, to expose wastage, fraud, corruption, to investigate government agencies, MDAs, parastatals that are under ministries, that are under our supervision of our respective standing committees of the House of Assembly, so that we know what they are doing and be sure that what they are doing is in tandem with our legislation, in tandem with what we have passed for our people. Every year we pass the appropriation bill, that is the budget. And in the budget, we state the things that should be done and the things that are not to be done, the projects, the amount voted for it and all that. We give approval for the financial expenditure and income of the fiscal year. We cannot just give the approval and then go to bed. When we give the approval, we also continue as a watchdog to monitor the activities of the executive to ensure that what they are doing is in tandem with what we have passed in the budget or our appropriation bill, if I may. So that is in the aspect of oversight. So I chair the House Committee on Works, Housing and Urban Development, and I know that everybody in Enugu know how much we try to do to ensure that people, when government pay people to do their work, that they do exactly what is contained in the bill of quantity. Because I'm a young man that try to avoid controversy much. So sometimes when you do your oversight and you see that a particular contractor have not done their work in accordance with what is in the BEME, So people will want you to call that person out, arrest the person, send the person to ICPC or to EFCC. Sometimes the contractor, the owner of the company, or maybe the major shareholder in the company, as the case may, might even be outside Nigeria and the company is running. So if you're penalizing the company, it might be the duty of the man on site. So what we do is that when we discover that a particular company is not doing what is right, what we do is that we invite the MD himself. Whether he's around or not, we agree on a date when the MD himself will come, and then we'll bring it to your notice. We ensure two things: that you know that the person you have on site is not doing what we agreed. You people agreed with Enugu State government. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
So we make you know in the event you're not complicit in what is happening on site. We'll let you know that we know and we will not tolerate it. Okay. So we ensure that you go back to the site to do exactly what is contained in the BEME. And we also ensure that you sanction your area staff, the person, the site manager, the project manager.
At least all the work of the...
And then where I'm on the second one, I'm not coming to the third one. And where it is necessary, where it has become recurrent that a particular contractor, just doesn't like to do things right, we blacklist them. Okay. In the past, we have blacklisted about 2 or 3 contracting firms in Enugu. Well, when we blacklist, we'll pass a resolution in the House that we no longer want this company or this company or this company to be working for the people of Enugu State.
Mostly because of incompetence.
Incompetence or sharp practices.
Okay.
Outside. If a drainage is supposed to be 12 cm, we want you to do it 12 cm, not 8 cm or 10 cm, because when you're doing it, you're conserving material, and that material is part of what we paid for.
Yeah.
You understand it? And then the last one is representation.
Okay.
And that is where what I said first comes to play. Because the people in the village, some of them don't know what is motion. They don't know what is bill. They don't know what is resolution. They don't know what is you're doing in the House of Assembly. All they know is that they voted for you and they need to see your impact. So that is where they say, okay, there was flood-related issues in a particular community in Eziago. Have you gone there? Have you seen the people who were affected? What have you proposed for the government to do to ameliorate their situation? I don't know if you understand. There was security situation in a particular village. Have you gone there? Have you reached the necessary relevant security agencies? Have you ensured that security of lives and properties have been intensified or restored in those areas? It might not necessarily be your duty directly, but they expect that as the person that speaks for them, that you call the people whose duty it is to attention so that they would respond to those things. You understand? Yes. And then sometimes you see that your constituents are in the hospital. They probably, maybe somebody has had a baby, the husband doesn't have enough money, and the person is being held hostage in the hospital to pay. And you get such information. You're not expected to tell the person, I'm a legislator, I don't get security vote, neither do I get allocation, I don't have money. They expect from that your meager resources that you get, you do some. That is the one that our people know. Of course, you know that Nigeria is saturated by poverty and poor people. So most times, despite the quality of your legislation, that personal touch is what they need most. Okay. So on my part, I've tried as much as possible. I've continued to follow up with the executive on the need for us to have a hospital in Eziago, and as I speak with you, a type 3 hospital is being built in Umumba, Ndiago, for the people of Eziago. It's a WHO standard type 3 hospital. It's ongoing now in Umumba, Ndiago, and I've been inspecting the work process. We also did a 1-kilometer road in Owoloti, Iwolo. We've also renovated over 20 school blocks done under the Universal Basic Education Board, NSUBEB, in Enugu here, led by Chief Ikeja Asogwa. And about 7 new buildings, school buildings, have also been constructed within the past 6 years I've been in the House of Assembly. Personally, I have attracted the empowerment in agriculture, training and empowerment of about 72 young persons and women. They were trained under a World Bank project called Commercial Agricultural Development, Commercial Agricultural Project. You know, they were nominated. Of course, I asked them to apply. I helped them to understand what the World Bank is looking for, and then their
documentation.
Exactly, and then they did it, and about 72 of them were pre-qualified.
Oh, wonderful.
And that 72 got a grant of 3.5 million each. I did this in my first term, and they all set up different farms, and many of them are still doing well up to today in different value chains of agriculture. That is one. There's a second phase coming now, and I've also ensured that more persons from Eziago come, but not as much as we did in the first time. In fact, at the time, I was the chairman of Committee on Agriculture, so helped me to know exactly what the World Bank is looking for. A lot of people didn't have that information, but I provided it for the youths and the women in Eziago, and they used it to, clinch the nomination, and then they got the training and the grant. In Akamoye, I've set up a solar street light in the major roads in Akamoye, the marketplace. There's a place called the Kobo Junction, if you've been there. So, and at night, whether there is EEDC power or not, those solar lights provide.
It doesn't affect it.
It doesn't affect it. No, it's purely solar. And I also have someone on contract, so that each time any of the solar lights have issues, they do maintenance immediately.
The conversation.
All
right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sure you agree with me that my conversation with Right Honorable Barrister Chima Obieze, representing Eziago constituency in the Enugu State House of Assembly, Nigeria, was very thoughtful and insightful. Please stay tuned next week for another edition of the program, The Conversation with Arthur Ejiofor. See you next time.